listening to the Cars of Carlisle podcast, episode 38, the 2019 Auto Mania show.
Cars of Carlisle is your favorite internationally downloaded podcast about all things automotive. Darren and his CFC team are ever searching for interesting automotive happenings, real stories about real car people, and fun features to inform and entertain you. Each week, the Cars of Carlisle crew brings you show topics ranging from car shows to team adventures to auto racing weekends to behind-the-scenes human interest stories from car nuts that live across town, across the country, or even across the globe. Come join the road trip.
Today, the Cars of Carlisle team heads east to Allentown, Pennsylvania, the very same town Billy Joel sang about. In this former coal and steel town, CFC spent the day at the 2019 Auto Mania show. While at Pennsylvania's largest indoor heated automotive flea market, Darren and the crew explored all that the 59,000 square foot facility had to offer. So, let's get revved up.
Hello and welcome back, Cubers, to your favorite informative automotive podcast. I am your host, Darren. Along with me in the passenger seat today is Scott.
Hello, Cubers.
And actually, we've been asked a couple times recently, what's up with this whole Cubers thing? And going back to 2018, we figured that Cars of Carlisle Club, it was 3 C's, C to the third power, cubed, made it Cubers. And what we'd like to do is, by you subscribing, rating, reviewing, we kind of think that is the victory lane, the inner circle, Cubers being the dedicated fans. And by all means, this is probably a good, before we even get into the first gear this week, take time to subscribe, rate, and review. That's what helps us out and keeps us relevant and at top of the search engine optimization. So thank you for doing that in advance. So this week, this past Saturday, Scott and I drove to Allentown, and we spent the day at the Auto Mania 2019. As you heard, nearly 60,000 indoor square feet of heated swap meet show, and it was actually pretty interesting. We had never been to one of these, and to walk around and see everybody that's itching to get to Spring Carlisle. This is a sort of a way to kind of hold everyone over to check out parts and do some of the things we love while we're still in the thick of the winter.
And we left way early to avoid everything so we get back in time
Right.
for the weather, which never happened.
Right. And that was really strange because they had a commercial vehicle ban on Interstate 81 and Interstate 78 here in central Pennsylvania, where after 1 p.m. yesterday, on Saturday, they wouldn't allow any semi-trucks and commercial vehicles of any sort on the roads. So it was kind of nice in a way that we had just cars only, but certainly we beat the weather. I think one of the things that was, when we got there to Allentown, huge farmers market, and we're walking and we parked.
Which we ate before we went. Otherwise,
I
there
know.
was every type of food imaginable. Every cuisine you could want.
Everything.
It was very cool. Packed.
They had everything from steak and hot dogs to Thai food, Korean food.
Greek, Mediterranean.
Absolutely.
There was a sign there that coming was the Irish food and
British.
British and Irish food that was going to be coming soon. So It was really cool.
Well, and as we're coming in from the parking lot, we found a single Nissan car key. So we, instead of going over to the Ag building into the Auto Mania, we decided to be good doobies and went into the actual farmers market. Walked around, asked where the business office was, went down this ramp, down in towards like the basement, and that was so funny. We found by accident the
person that was in charge.
Right.
Of it.
So we no sooner said, someone left this in the parking lot. Is this, can you get this to Lost and Found? She said, I'll handle it. I no sooner gave it to her, she turned around and
she had the key in one hand and already had an intercom in the other hand.
We hadn't even turned away, and it was, attention all shoppers, if anyone is missing a car key, please report. It was like,
it was very efficient.
It was super efficient. I had to say, loved her efficiency in taking care of business. That was pretty cool.
But if you have a chance to go to the farmer's market down there, it's great.
Yeah.
And they had all sorts of products that you could buy to make yourself. All sorts of meats and cheeses and pastries and desserts. And so, yeah. I felt like head back down for that.
It felt like a state fair indoors.
It was great.
Pretty cool. So then we walked our way over to this other building and went into the Ag building, I guess it is, and spent the time walking around, seeing all the vendors, everything. I mean, all parts you can imagine, and from powder coating to a lot of restoration specialists and
tools, cleaning
painters,
products,
absolutely,
videos,
yeah,
DVDs,
anything,
toys,
storage. It was so you name it, we saw it. A lot of cool vintage posters, and the one guy that had, I guess, like a DVD, and he was trying to sell his business, but it was all automotive related movies and things from all eras, going back to the 50s. So there's a lot to see. So what we ended up doing is we met some great people, and we want to do some introductions to you, let them tell you a little bit about their business, and then we'll wrap it up. But
and most of, if not all, these people will be at the different shows at Carlisle as well. So
exactly,
it'd be kind of cool to stop in and see them. If you have a chance to talk with them, it'd be great.
Yeah, they really were. Not everybody was had the time or were willing to talk to us. So the three that we did interview, we really appreciated them giving their time, and also we wanted to be respectful of their business. If someone had a line of people, we hung back and didn't want to interrupt their point of sale.
Right, and I think a couple of people we talked to were actually going to, for our own individual automotives, we might consider doing some stuff through them. So.
Oh yeah,
cool.
Definitely. As far as having some rims painted and some other things, but I know for those of you that are waiting spring Carlisle, April can't get here soon enough. I know I'm ready. We actually got 4 inches of snow overnight. We've been shoveling here in Carlisle. It's a lot happening. I don't know about you, but I am ready to get on with spring and enjoy the nice weather, to get my BRZ back out of the garage and have some fun. A chance to enjoy perhaps some more modifications through the Cars of Carlisle sponsor, Man Engineering, out of Santa Clara, California. Again, if you have any interest in Subaru performance, they are the one-stop shop vendor. Check them out. That's Man Engineering. So first up, we stopped at the booth of ADC Powder Coating and Media Blasting, and they're actually up in that same area. They have an Allentown address. And you'll hear from Tim Oliver. Standing with him was an employee, Jess, and the two of them actually not only have their day-to-day work with the powder coating and doing all of that, but they also enjoy BMX trick riding, etc. And they gave us their YouTube channel. We're so excited to check that out. But they have multiple interests and talents. So let's go to Tim now.
Thanks for taking a few minutes. I know you just had a ton of people here at your table.
Yeah, it's a crazy day today for sure.
I know there's been a lot of interest, and you feel like coming away from this, you'll probably get some good leads and some good business.
Yeah, we do pretty well every year. A couple weeks after the show, people start trickling in, and all the way up to a year later, people, oh yeah, I got your show or your card at Auto Mania, and so we'll get business.
Okay. How many years have you guys been coming here?
I think this is our third. No, this is our fourth year. This is our fourth year doing
all right.
it. So.
Cool. We'll talk a little bit about, because being a podcast, people listen to us from all over, but we don't have the benefit of visual. So walk us through what you have on your display table and what you're all about.
We have a little bit of everything on our display table. We have some color samples to kind of show people different colors that we can do. We have an old intake. Half of it is completely kind of crappy and rusty, and the other half is done in a nice silver, so people can see what a difference we can make.
The bike frame is cool.
Custom BMX bike.
Yeah,
it's
that's awesome.
A translucent green color, so you can
kind of
see
like Atomic
actually,
Kermit.
Right. Yeah. You can see through the paint actually and see the weld marks in it, which is a really cool color.
So cool.
Got some intakes and some
the Volkswagen intake here.
Volkswagen intake. There's a couple different colors on that, so we can do.
And I love this multicolored rim out front with the neon green and the flat black. That is really
it's
really tough.
We do a lot of two-tone wheels. There's not a lot of powder coaters in the area that will take the time to do two tones, like 3 different colors on a wheel. We've had guys come from Manhattan and Connecticut to have us do their wheels because nobody wants to do it.
That's amazing.
So,
and when you can fill that niche, that's really a great thing from a business standpoint.
And I love the powder coating aspect. We kind of do it more of the artistic style rather than like, hey, we're out to make $1 million. Like, we want to do crazy two-tone, three-tone wheels, and that's kind of where we want to be. We want to take the time to do that kind of stuff instead of doing 1,000 pieces of one color.
Yeah. No, I think it shows you guys. Your craftsmanship, just from what I see here, is amazing. And a bike frame that's really hard to get right because there's no flat on that. So
A lot of corners.
a lot of corners at all.
Yeah, and if you've powder coated before, you know sometimes the powder just does not want to go in corners.
No.
So it's we got it down to a science. I've been powder coating for over 20 years now. So
What got you
seen
into
it all. You know what? I started back just after high school, and I needed a job, and that was what was available, and I started hanging parts on a line, and I did that for a year, and one of our lead powder coaters was sick one night, and my boss was like, hey, you want to try it? And I've been powder coating ever since.
Probably was like,
So-
you probably got hooked right away too.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. You can make something that's really ugly look awesome. You know?
Yeah, it does. It completely brings it back to life.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. And the benefit there too is it protects it and it keeps it pretty much corrosive free and everything going forward as
Absolutely.
long as you maintain it and take
Yep.
care of it properly. But, yeah.
Yep, and we take pride in our work. You know, it's 90% of a good product is your prep.
Yes.
So if you take your time and you do the prep right, you'll never have people complaining about anything.
Now, do you have repeat customers, I'm sure, like that maybe change vehicles and they're constantly bringing new projects to you?
Oh yeah, we have
cool.
we have a local guy. He's an engine builder in town, and he's in the shop 3 times a week.
Oh, man.
For different parts and intakes.
You got to send
and-
him a Christmas card.
Oh man, yeah, he keeps us in business for
right,
sure.
yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah,
You know?
good. That's awesome. Well, anything else you want to add for the Cars of Carlisle listeners?
Hey, you know what? If anybody needs any powder coat work, you know,
These
drive
guys-
to Allentown. We'll take care of you.
I was going to say, if people are coming from Manhattan, you know it's good.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much.
I was impressed enough with everything that ADC did that I'm considering maybe even having them powder coat, custom powder coat rims on one of my cars.
Yeah, and they do everything. They said they even did Yeti mugs and
Yeah.
aluminum
Yeah.
water bottles and things like that. So you can customize that if you need anything advertising or marketing as well.
And I know you heard it in the interview, but that BMX bike frame was an excellent visual to show how detailed their work is and how flawless it is.
And their bright green was great looking.
Oh yeah, but all the tubes, I mean, the fact there was nothing flat or truly square on anything, that's not easy to do. So as we walked around, we continued to go up and down all the aisles and talking to different people and making friends along the way. We then came across a beautiful 32.
Candy apple red.
Oh, it was gorgeous. 32 coupe, and it was completely modded out. It was full hot rod. And it was at the booth of Blast from the Past, and they are now actually going, I think, by Borneman's. And we talked to Dave Borneman there. It's a Pottstown-based business, and they do some beautiful work. So let's listen now.
Thank you for taking a few minutes and walk me through maybe a little bit what you do.
We basically do, actually it's Borneman's Restorations and Customs we're kind of going with because the name being so long.
Okay.
All right. We basically do everything on the collector car from general service work to complete builds and complete restorations. We have the 32 Ford that's by us right now. That is actually, a complete build for a customer. It's an original Henry Ford body that we built for a customer. It took about a year and a half. All steel, original steel car. Yep. We have, cars at the shop that we're doing brake upgrades on. We're doing wiring harnesses in. We're doing fuel injection, the new big thing with all the cars out there now. But then in the same hand, we're doing, a 35 Ford Phaeton. Changing cylinder heads on an original 35 Phaeton, and we have a 57 Cadillac in there that we have a wiper and transmission issue with, and we're doing that. And then he's bringing his 48 Cadillac Series 61 to have full restoration done on it.
Wow.
So we have 10 guys at the shop that work full time there for us. We're a full facility as far as metal shaping, metal work, to complete body work and paint.
Awesome.
All mechanicals, all aspects of the mechanical part of it. So
How many projects do you have in flight or cars in your shop at any
there's
given
about
time?
35 cars in the
Okay.
shop right
Okay.
now. Yeah, we have a 20,000 square foot building.
Wow.
And it's basically divided in 3 sections. We have a mechanical side section. We have a sheet metal. We have a fabrication side, which will be where all the metal work and all the grinding and cutting gets done at.
Sure.
And then there's a wall that partitions that off, which is all the prep and paint area back there. We have a 36-foot paint booth. We are set up to do waterborne paints if we had to. We don't spray enough VOCs to actually have to do that. So, but yeah, we do whatever the customer wants. I really don't turn anything away. My guys are very qualified to do every aspect of the car.
Sounds like you have a great team, too.
We do. We have an awesome team.
How many years have you been in business?
My wife and I have been in business for 5 years. I'm going on 5 years.
Okay.
My dad had a business for about 15 years. Prior to us, he retired and closed his business. We opened our own up. The thing about it is I've been doing this my whole life. I have my first car I bought when I was 14, and I actually have my dad's first car that he bought when he was 15. So it's 39.
Those are treasures.
Yeah, I have a 64 Chevelle Super Sport, and my dad's with a 39 Chevy.
You answered my next question. That's great.
You know, and I have both of those cars. So I've been doing it since I was, knee-high to a grasshopper, so to speak.
That's really cool. Now, do you have clients coming from all over the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic?
Mostly East Coast.
Okay.
I have anywhere from Connecticut area all the way down to Naples, Florida.
Wow.
I have customers in all those areas.
Outstanding. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for giving us some time.
Thank you very much for asking me.
We then stopped at Chassis Concepts. They're a business that's based out of Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania, and stood there for quite a while and talked with the owner, Ray Light. He was a delightful guy, a lot of fun, very down to earth, talking about how he spends up to 30 plus weeks on the road every year. In fact, he and his wife, I think, are planning to attend 31 shows in 2019 alone, a lot of which they hit the Carlisle and Hershey, and they're all over. But in talking with him, he is just a really fascinating guy. He was talking about how he gives away Corvette-oriented New Testaments. He has been in business for so many years. He has been so excited about giving people the opportunity to really enjoy older Corvettes with a brand new modern chassis underneath. Ray was truly a down-to-earth, straightforward gentleman of the best caliber. In fact, I plan to stop and see him when he's in Carlisle at the shows and just say hi. He's definitely become a new friend.
I'm with Ray Light of Chassis Concepts. He's been doing this for quite a few years and actually been here at Auto Mania for 18 years. Is that right?
That's correct.
Right? Okay. If you would tell some of the listeners about what you do and some of the frames and the chassis we have here today.
We make a chassis for the late model suspension on the older Corvette. So you can have a 53 to an 82 Corvette that would have anything from 96 to 2019 Corvette suspension on it. Makes it ride a whole lot better, handled with the new technology.
Right. Now, do you have clients and customers all up and down the Mid-Atlantic?
Pretty much on the East Coast, from New York down to Florida.
Okay.
We've had some in Texas, some in Arizona.
Okay.
More of it is located on the East Coast.
And now, your shop, fabrication and everything, you want to talk a little bit about that?
We have 2 fab shops that do the welding on the chassis,
Okay.
then they go to the powder coaters, then they come to our facility, and that's where we do all the assembly for the suspension. On the refurbished suspension, we do that there and then paint it. On the new suspension, we also sandblast that and then clear coat it so that it's got a nice finish on it when it's done. But that's the 2019 suspension is all brand new. That's all GM.
Okay. How many people are in the operation?
4.
Okay. So you guys probably have a lot of work at any given time, too.
Yes, that's correct. And with the shows, we do 31 shows up and down the East Coast.
Now, do you do most of those yourself?
I do.
Wow.
My wife and I.
That's amazing. Now, do you have an RV that helps you?
A motorhome and a stacker trailer, so we take
Okay.
5 frames with us to each of the shows we go to.
Oh my gosh. Now, how do you get these up back on the trailer? Just roll them up?
There's a lift inside that 3 go up on top and then 2 go underneath,
Okay.
and there's a winch to pull them in.
Okay. So with these 31 shows, you said?
Yes.
How far, what regionally and geographically?
We do Bloomington, the Indy Show, the Bloomington Gold Corvette
Okay.
Show. We do Zephyr Hills, Carlisle, Webster, Moultrie, Georgia, in Florida. Those shows are in Florida, then Moultrie, Georgia. We do all the Carlisle shows.
Good.
We do the New York, Syracuse Nationals, Corvette Expo.
You really are all over.
Down in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. We are.
And that has to be, that's a good chunk of your year right there.
And also we're doing the NSRA shows this year, the street rod shows.
Oh, that's excellent.
Because what we do ties in with what that is.
Right.
It's not just the Corvettes that are refinished. It's one you can drive.
Right. And you probably find a lot of your clients are doing just that. They want to make a Corvette
Absolutely.
that is fun to just take out and enjoy.
Financially, it's the right thing to do. If you restore an original Corvette, you're just putting money into a hole in the ground, covering it up, and that's where it is. You do this, every penny you put into one of these, it gets 2 pennies back.
Good return.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much, Ray, for giving me some of your time. I wish you great success in the rest of this show.
Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you, sir.
One of the things once we stopped recording in that interview that Ray said that Scott and I, even how about it, was pretty fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that he just finished a project for a right-hand drive chassis he's sending it over to Indonesia. And he was talking about how he's sending it in multiple parts because it then reduces the shipping costs and some things. But he's incredibly excited because I think there's something like 40 plus 50 some countries throughout the world that are right-hand drive, most likely former British colonies. So now he sees it as a possible extension of his market opportunity, and he's really excited about that. But he handed over his personal iPhone. We were going through dozens of photos outside of his shop where they were featuring the new right-hand drive, and this was a one-off, completely engineered from scratch. So kudos to this team.
It's impressive. Yeah.
So our day in Allentown was a lot of fun. Scott, would you agree?
It was a blast.
I mean, even with the bad weather threatening and some things, it was an enjoyable time. Met some great people.
A lot to do.
Very much so. And again, it's all about the people, our community. And we experienced that this past weekend, where people just being open and honest, real people, having the real stories. Always truly appreciate that. And thank you, our fans, for continuing to come back week after week, helping us grow the audienceship, and say something to 3 or 4 or 5 of your car buddies. Say something about having them go in and listen and download too. Why not? Let's continue to spread like wildfire.
Share the information on emails.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever works best. Instagram, social media. We would appreciate all of that. Well, we are going to be back next week. This is the episode that we've been pushing out a couple times just because we want to make things that are get items in here that are much more timely. But this is that OEM episode we talked about at the end of 2018. So we're finally going to begin work on that this week. We'll have that ready for you next Tuesday. But for now, I'm going to say thank you very much for being our fan. We'd love to have you back next week. Drive well, be well, and take care.